So here it is. It's our meal. Box combo, 4 golden fried chicken fingers, crinkle cut fries, buttery, garlicky toast, cane sauce, and coleslaw.
This is everything you serve sitting on this table right now.
That's what it is, man. Dig in.
All right, let's see. I'm gonna go for one of these first.
You can taste the quality, right?
That's a $1 billion idea right there, believe it or not. A 22-year-old Todd Graves knew a spot serving only chicken fingers would be a hit with LSU students, even if the banks thought he was a dumb kid with a bad idea. He had a childish menu, no management experience, no money.
When you believe in something, like to your core, that it's gonna work, and you're an entrepreneur, you use every no and every it's not gonna work as fuel. You build a chip on your shoulder. It's the best thing that can happen to you.
3 decades after scraping together the cash to open his first restaurant, Graves has put up more than 900 Raising Cane's chicken fingers locations across 42 states. It's one of America's largest fast food chains and one of the quickest growing, adding more than 100 stores every year. Sales hit $5.1 billion last year, or a staggering $6.6 million per store, second only to Chick-fil-A and more than double most major chains.
I feel like with the first location being right here on LSU's campus, it's a big part of LSU and Baton Rouge's identity.
To put that into perspective, a typical chain is lucky to break $2 million per year in sales. And Graves still owns 92% of Raising Cane's, making his net worth $22 billion, all just from chicken fingers.
What I think makes Cane's different is it's led by a founder and a founder's family. I take it personally that I'm feeding people's kids, food safety, right? I take it personally that I hire people's kids to come into our business. All those things that when you're founder driven, you make the right decisions for your crew and for your customers. And when you do that, then the sales come.
To get to know the man behind the brand, I spent a day in his hometown of Baton Rouge with him.
Look, I'm not a licensed plumber, but that picture right there shows me putting in the plumbing and it's held all these years.
Graves showed me everything from the first Raising Cane's restaurant, which he calls the mothership, to his house, his guest house, and his treehouse fit for a king, and a few notable celebrity friends of his.
Said, is there a number limit, weight limit? Because you put as many people as it can fit in this thing.
Wow.
So Cane, what is actually in the cane sauce? I'm counting chicken fingers.
But before he was a social media star, Graves was just like any born and raised Louisiana kid.
Growing up in the 70s and the 80s here in Baton Rouge, it was kind of that, kind of all-American lifestyle, right? We, went to school, loved our summer vacations, played Little League baseball. A lot of it centered around LSU here. And Baton Rouge kind of had a lot to do with where everything is with Cane's today. And here in this Cajun culture, you love to cook. I grew up in my mom's kitchen, and food just symbolized love for me, right? If my mom and I were making a gumbo all day on a Sunday, right, we'd have the sports playing, but we cooked that gumbo all day. And it didn't need to take exactly that long, but it was time I spent with her. And we could serve that gumbo to our friends and family. And that really stuck with me, that culture of food and love, and really built into what Cane's is today.
He also displayed all the telltale signs of a future entrepreneur.
When I grew up, I was a kid in the neighborhood that did the lemonade stands, and I'd cut people's grass for $5. That's really where that entrepreneurial spark started from. I just had that knack to want to make money and know how to do it. I asked my parents, hey, can I take the lawnmower and the edger? And I don't know if that's something a 10, 11-year-old should be able to do, but it built that independence. Then I learned to hire other kids in the neighborhood and pay them a little bit, of what I was making, kind of built that out to a little lawn service.
Graves' work ethic would follow him into college at the University of Georgia.
Yeah, so I worked in high school and college in restaurants, and so I just naturally loved food, and that was a job. And I remember working in those, but thinking it should be done differently. And when you worked in restaurants before, it wasn't a great atmosphere. It was more of like negative management. You're doing this wrong, you're screwing up on this, kind of negative. There was no music playing in the kitchens. There wasn't just a great vibe with these restaurants.
Graves wanted to do things differently.
I was a college student. I knew what I wanted to eat. I knew the environment I wanted to go to. And I knew I could deliver on quality and consistency, getting to see different types of food, not just Cajun and Creole food here in Baton Rouge. I was able to look at some different concepts. There was Guthrie's, there was Zaxby's, there was these different chains. And that's when I really keyed on to this chicken finger, the chicken strips. And what was great about doing such a focused concept was that I knew we could execute on that. And you have to have it just right every single time.
What did your friends and family members and everybody else think, when you're going around saying, forget Cajun Creole, forget all these other trends. I'm going to do chicken fingers, and I'm only going to do chicken fingers, and I'm never changing that.
When I explained the concept, just a quality chicken finger meal, craveable and great, they would say, well, what else are you going to have on the menu? You have to have variety. Look, everywhere I go, there's variety if we want to go get that. And I tried to explain it to them, and they just didn't get it, really. They were encouraging to me, but I could see that vision, right? I could see it happening other places. I knew it would be a success.
Someone who did believe in Todd's vision was his longtime friend, Craig Silvey, who was then a student at LSU.
Todd and I go way back. We met actually in 6th grade. We kind of had this instant bond. We both had this kind of, attitude about life, living freely and just really having a good time, but at the same time working hard.
The story of how the first Raising Cane's came to be is a wild tale of two young guys in their early 20s doing whatever it takes to make their dream happen.
Todd was in entrepreneur mode. I was, majoring in biochemistry. Todd was about to graduate in telecommunications. And we always wanted to start a business together. At the time, chicken fingers were trendy, mostly at casual restaurants. So it became this focus on how much volume we could pump through a relatively small place.
Most entrepreneurs start a business with a friend, right? You're going in, it's scary, right? And you're like, I want to be with somebody that will see it through with me.
We actually made kind of a pseudo blood pack. We had like this chicken claw from the flea market, and we decided to kind of scrape our wrist and put our wrists together, and we said, let's do this till the end.
Well, it's like, hey, if we're going to commit to this, I want to make it where we're going to commit to success or failure, either way, but we're not going to quit.
And when you're that young and you have literally hardly anything to lose, especially financially, it sounded like a fun commitment. And by then we knew that the only way we could do this was go 100%. So we knew we had to put together a business plan.
Sylvie had to write a business plan for a class, so the duo submitted their chicken finger concept, mapping out everything, even the brand of toilet paper they'd buy. The professor gave them a B-.
I got the worst grade in the class. The teacher said, it's a great plan. Look, I knew it. I wrote the Bible on a chicken finger restaurant. I knew what our aprons would cost that week. I had it down to a science. So the plan was good, but the concept is flawed. It said, one, serving just chicken fingers meals here in South Louisiana. We're known for our Cajun Creole food. Doing plate lunches, the variety that Cajun brings is like, one, I don't think that's a great sector of the restaurant business to do here in Louisiana.
It kind of fueled us, and we had this such laser focus back then that, we just kind of had this young attitude that we weren't going to listen to anyone.
I actually bought a cheap suit and went to Office Depot and bought an old briefcase that had the brass combination locks, right? And I thought this is what business people did. So I basically got every banker in town. I think there's some rule they have to take you if you want to go in and present a lending opportunity. I'd walk in, I'd open my combination lock and give a business plan. Then I was in my cheap suit and I would go through the business plan. Pretty much got the same response, right? The bankers were nice enough to me, but they were like, just chicken finger only concept here in Louisiana. And then I got the extra things from business. You have no money, no equity to put into this. You don't have years of management experience. Usually we look at 10 years at a minimum for somebody to start a restaurant, to have that type of experience. We know you worked in high school and college, but you weren't a manager and I wasn't. And the common response is go work for some of the really great restaurant companies out there and learn from them. And then you'll be better set up to do a business. And I'm thinking, it's not bad advice, it's not terrible, but I'm an entrepreneur, with every no, I'm getting more fired up and a chip on my shoulder to show you that I can do it. And so I just kindly said, well, I appreciate the time and you're going to see my restaurant open and I hope you're a customer. After I got turned down by all the investors, I knew I had to raise money by myself on this. And so through a friend of a friend, I got a job working as a boiler maker in refineries, doing turnaround shift work. You work these long days, hard work, it's hot as heck. You're in the middle of these towers, and I'm learning how to, work welding irons, blow torches. I'm learning how to like direct in these huge flanges coming into this deal. When I was working so hard out there, the Boilermakers were the first really encouraging group to me. And they were like, you're going to make this chicken finger restaurant work. And I'm like, you believe it? And they said, yeah, you're working so hard for this.
You think that's what they saw, how hard you're working and how passionate you were? And
exactly. They saw that. And they said, you're going to back it. And we believe in your concept, and we believe you're going to be a success. From there, I met a fellow Boilermaker named Wild Bill Tolar. And Wild Bill was like, look, Todd, you really want to make some money for this chicken finger restaurant? I got something for you. I fish summers in Alaska in the sockeye salmon fishing trade. He's like, hard work, way more dangerous than this and actually harder than this. But you'll make a whole bunch of money. I think you'll be able to open your restaurant. So I was like, well, sign me up. Where do I go?
He got in touch with me to tell me about Alaska. At that time, I kind of just thought it was another crazy Todd idea. And then it turned into this whole adventure, but a very focused adventure. We told everyone that we were trying to get a job out there. They were like, why are y'all out here in Alaska? We're trying to raise money for a chicken finger restaurant.
Crazy work. During the peak of the season, we were working 20-hour days, which meant you get an hour nap here, 45 minutes here, 30 here, because that fish is coming. You're picking fish. And it's also very dangerous because most of these captains make their entire income for the year off this short summer period of fishing. We ran boats rammed us. We were catching so much fish, the waves were coming in the side before we could load off to a tender boat that was going. National Geographic's flying planes over, medical helicopters coming in. You're hearing on the radio, somebody died, somebody got thrown out with a net or got crushed, all these things. And I was out there financing this chicken finger dream.
The chicken finger dream kept you waking up in the morning, going back out there and doing it.
Absolutely.
When Graves and Sylvie returned to Louisiana, they noticed a change in interest from investors.
I was able to put together about $50,000 from those jobs. And I saw something different happen when I came home. I've been sticking with this, so then people started paying attention a little bit. Like this wasn't just some, flash in the pan idea that you.
It's a year later, and Todd's still going on about chicken fingers. We're gonna have to humor him.
And worked in refineries, and worked in commercial fishing, risking his life.
We got some money from investors. We got this small SBA loan.
Luck would have it that the perfect location was available, but a dilapidated old spot that they couldn't keep tenants in. The college concepts would come and go, and the realtor believed in me, believed that I would make it a success and wanted long-term rent for his client. And we were able to go in, and it was dilapidated. We would do most of the work ourselves on the place and renovate it to a cool little hangout, which looks exactly the same.
The partners almost called their chicken joint Sockeyes in honor of their salmon fishing days, until a friend wisely suggested naming it after Graves' dog, a yellow Labrador named Raising Cane, which is a southern expression that means to cause a ruckus.
When we finally got the store open, I remember we were going on no sleep. And I think we opened like at 9 p.m. It was a really soft opening. We told some friends and family. And our first late night rush either happened that night or the next night, and it was slammed.
When we got the first financials after the first month, we made $30, right? But I mean, $30 meant we got to pay everybody, my crew, my vendors, my rent. I'm like, this is gonna work.
We celebrated at the end of the night by drinking some beer, probably stuff that, we couldn't get away with now, or you shouldn't do. But we did what it took. We're constantly giving free food away to the employees that work that late. And we were also making it fun.
Were you able to keep early employees maybe longer because it was a fun place to work?
Yeah, absolutely. So it helped galvanize our culture in the first Raising Cane's, right? I hired a great original crew, and man, they were great kids. I mean, I was a kid too. I was just out of college, and having fun at work. I saw the difference that made in our customer service and that pride of serving that perfect chicken finger box to every customer that comes through. When we established that culture, that vibe, when there's good music playing and the crew members are smiling and you can tell they're genuinely happy, that attracted more good crew members that wanted to come work with us. They're like, I want to be a part of that. They look at other restaurant jobs around town, and some of them just weren't pleasant places to work. They wanted to come for Raising Cane's.
Graves showed me the first Raising Cane's location for a look at the vibe that really hasn't changed in the last 30 years.
Here's my baby, the mothership. What do you think?
It's unlike any Cane's that I've ever been to.
Yes.
It's smaller and, but it's You can tell it was the start of something. That's
Yeah,
for sure.
right. And so it was just like shotgun shack, right? Yeah, Louisiana have these deals. The whole idea is like shoot a shotgun from the front door out the back door,
Yep.
right? And so it was just a shack. And so it had all this different paneling on the walls. So it had been 100 different things. It was at one point it was like a arcade. So we found this old paneling that was rainbow painted for the arcade. Started pulling all that off, and then I found this layer of all these old like cypress, plank boards that went, and I was able to put together enough, just enough
Just for this stretch.
for this, because the rest of them were like all battered and ripped up and things like that. So I was able to do this stretch, and this side got down to this stucco, right? And then so one little part had brick down there, and I got a crowbar, and I started, giving it character all the way down. I was like, "This looking good," till I got down to this, and I'm like, "Wait, what's behind that?" And so I uncovered this old bread mural from a bakery in the 1930s in Louisiana, right? And literally, I took it as a sign,
Yeah.
that it was great. And so literally took this exact design, and we had the big wall outside that was just big and bare, and we said, let's do a Canes mural the exact same way. It means something, right? And the colors were great. All that just fell into place for us, right? And so we did all the work ourselves. Because I didn't have much money to put on expenses of things. So we built this old bar here where people could come up. Mind you, this is it's almost 29 years ago, right?
Yeah.
We built
Still
this,
going strong.
Still going strong. And if you worked here and helped me, you got to put your name in here, right? So I put Graves, 8/10/96, right? 1996. We did it, and people would come and put their names. Different parts of the deal. Broyles, help that, Coulard. There's different names around. That was kind of how they could put their mark.
Who
on
were
it.
all these guys? Were they early
friends and
early
family,
helpers?
Yeah, they just were willing to come out and help out. Like, we can't pay you anything. They said, no, we want to be a part of it. We'll help you out, And people can learn to paint. They can learn to do all these things. And to go and, look, if you don't have the money or a tight budget, shoestring budget, it's like you learn how to do these things. So I'm on an auger, literally borrowed a friend's mother's tractor, went through the property, shredded it out. I couldn't do the concrete, laid the concrete, but we helped finish and do everything to where we could save money. And look, for us, we wanted to keep it classic. Old cypress, Louisiana. These are old reclaimed cypress boards, right? We did that, and then we had
what's the deal with the disco ball? I gotta hear about the disco ball.
Well, we had a skylight, and I'm like, what do we do with a skylight? And so we're like, well, we'll finish it out with the wood. Let's put something fun up there. Like, what do you want to do? And someone said, hey, let's do stained glass. We're like, that could be fun. And someone said, hey, how about a disco ball?
And so you'll find a lot of this stuff in every Canes, right? You got a mural, you got a disco ball.
Velvet Elvises on the wall. We get an artist, a special Velvet Elvises. All those things are carried over, and it means something to us, our crew.
Within just a few moments of being at the first Raising Cane's location, you could tell that Todd is in and out all the time and very involved in the detail of his business.
Ever since I've been to Cane's, he's always stopped in the restaurants and high-fiving the crew, seeing the crew, checking in, and he really cares about everything that they're thinking about. And anytime that we give him ideas, he really takes those things to heart.
My amazing crew here.
You've got the hardest job. You have to run the Raising Cane's down the street from this guy's house.
The best though.
Yeah,
There you go.
mothership. It's the best. It's just this is our crew, man. We love it. Everybody doing good? Look, original fry line here, right? All this. How's it going? Give you an elbow. How are you? Great. And so what's important on this, you see this whole line?
Yeah.
You can see orders come in. Everything comes from the freshly grilled toast all the way down through chicken and fries. That, they make it and they get it out the door. Because you have this system going is you know exactly what orders are coming in, so you cook to order. If it's busy, you cook a little ahead. If it's slow, then you pull it back. But you can see all this when you're cooking. If you're a restaurant guy, this is heaven. It's not multiple lines going to see all this.
You got nothing under a heat lamp. Everything is just
straight through.
simple and
Simple
fresh
process
and right out the
that
door.
does-
Nothing in here comes in frozen. You get
all
raw chicken in
fresh.
here.
That's right,
And
yes.
they bread it here.
Yeah,
Deep fried here.
hand battered and breaded. And look, it's milk and egg batter. It's top quality flour with the special seasonings we have in there, all herbal, all great. And it's been the same way we've done it from day one. The new challenges with supply chain is open up in different regions, making sure it all tastes the same.
I got to do my very own celebrity-style Raising Cane's drive-through takeover. How full do you go?
All the way to the top.
All the way.
There we go, nice, good.
And then we just cap it.
So you just grab a lid there.
First lemonade.
Thank you.
He's pretty good, huh? All right, 1 minute, 1 minute. See, it's served fresh.
Gotta
right?
be as fresh as possible.
And you want that food coming in fresh like that, right?
Details guy, I get it.
Yeah, it's
You know?
100%, man. You rather be waiting a little bit for your food than your food waiting on you, right?
Full disclosure, I've had Raising Cane's before, but it's a little different when you're eating it across the table from the billionaire who created the brand.
How's the tenders?
They're as good here as anywhere. That's for sure.
And you're not a slaw guy, huh? I'm not either. That's why at Cane's you can trade out your slaw for extra
That is
fries,
so interesting.
extra
You put
toast or
four
sauce.
things on the menu, and one of them you don't really care for.
I don't care.
That's
Now,
pretty funny.
Coleslaw people say it's good. I'm like, no slaw is really good to me.
Todd, are you awake?
One thing Graves is great at is getting celebrities to promote Raising Cane's. There are a lot of celebrities that, pitch Raising Cane's. Your marketing budget has to be enormous. How does that come about, and how much do you spend on that? And, how do you see the role of marketing and, promoting this whole thing?
Yeah, I mean, marketing is so important, right? Best form of marketing is solid operations, right? You can market something if you can't deliver on a great product or service, then you won't make it, right? But like with quick service food, it's top of mind is the key. Like there's a lot of good places to go eat. You want Cane's to be in their head when they're making a decision. General broad advertising, look, just quick service restaurants, total budget off sales is 3 to 4%. That's how much money we put into to marketing to keep our brands top of mind. I like to tie into celebrities who are Caniacs, ones that love Cane's, ones that I have a relationship with, so it's that organic connection. And people can see whether it's a paid endorsement or it's somebody that really loves the brand. And I love to tie into their fans, right? And it's whether it's sports or entertainers, artists, their massive fan base. They might already be a fan of Cane's and go to Cane's, but once their person that they're a fan of is like totally into Cane's, it builds long-term loyalty.
Yeah, and so how do you find those celebrities that are Caniacs?
For me, it's got to be organic. It's got to be people that love Cane's, and I don't like going around hitting up people to come endorse a product that they might not be crazy about. So just about all of our relationships we have with celebrities is coming from, hey, they wanted to meet the Cane's guy. They love Cane's. They heard the story and wanted to meet. And the ones we make friends with and do it after that period, we make a good friendship. And that's when we'll go and we'll do a deal if it makes sense for both parties. Like I became friends with Post Malone, and Post loved Cane's. He grew up on it, loved it, and he wanted to meet the Cane's guy. So his people called my people, Post Light, to invite Todd out and his family out to see a show. And come out and do it. So I went and watched a show, and then we met afterwards and enjoyed. Then we went back to his house, and we became friends that way. And so it was several years that we had the friendship, and then we started talking about doing something together. And I was like, well, what do you want to do? He's like, man, I want to own some Cane's. I just want my own Cane's. I was like, well, that's a fun idea. I said, but to actually own it, you're not gonna be frying chicken. Just like I'm not gonna be up on stage with you. How about we do some Post Malone restaurants where you want to put them? You design it exactly how you want it, and let's have fun with that. And then we'll split the profits of the restaurant, which worked out great. Post got to design some crazy restaurants. He was like, what's the budget? I'm like, nothing. You do whatever you want to do. So you create this big pink restaurant with pneumatic ping pong balls going through it and all this Birch and memorabilia, made it really special, and we wanted his ideas and from his team versus us go in and think what we're going to do, and it came something really special. And now like people will do layover flights in Dallas and in Salt Lake, they do later flights of the day just to be able to go to that Raising Cane's, Post Malone Raising Cane's, and then fly where they're going. Crazy.
And so those are really organic deals. All these, because the list of celebrities is very, very long. It's a lot of people. So these are people that are mostly coming to you.
It came from knowing each other and the friendship behind it. Then it comes out organic, cool, real, genuine, which that's what consumers are looking for. Real things, not corporate paid gigs. Right?
Yeah. And so, do you think that's a big part of the success is that all the branding and everything feels that it's real, and it doesn't feel like it's coming from a marketing agency.
Yeah, absolutely. People today can see through corporate things so quickly. It's a turnoff to them, and then the brand's not special anymore, right? You have these celebrities around that are doing cool things and working hard and doing good for community and things like that. It really amplifies your brand. I'll give you the $150,000, and I'll go 25%.
Todd, you animal. Why would you undercut me like that? You're a guest.
You're on Shark Tank. You're a guest shark for a couple episodes. What was that experience like? Why did you decide to do it? And, how was it?
Shark Tank, when they called and they wanted me on the show, I was thrilled. So I'm a fan of the show, right? I love entrepreneurship. I love how the sharks do that. I like the values they teach and things like that. So I'm like, look, plus it'd be a lot of fun. I always thought about it, right? I'm like, man, it'd be really fun to be on Shark Tank. And, I did it for several reasons. One, promote the business, always promoting Raising Cane's. Two is like really helping out entrepreneurs, and so whether I was going to invest or not, I could help and give good advice, from the things I know, and they could pick that up. And then, three, I wanted to go do some deals and compete with sharks. The producers told me, like, you're going to have to interrupt. And it took me, I'm on the South, you don't do that. It took me a couple of pitches and I couldn't get my stuff in. And then I started just interrupting in the middle of the sentence and nobody cared. And isn't that wild? But it was all great. We got to battle for some deals. I was able to do several deals.
What do you see as your role in all this? You've got the Cane shirt on now. I see, you've changed into some corporate branding, and what's your role now at Cane's? How much are you overseeing the day to day? How much of it is, sort of playing the chicken man? The main guy.
Yeah. So my role now is to make sure the company is like living our values, right? Our non-negotiables, right? So like one of the non-negotiables is always use the highest quality ingredients. They'll never be touched. We could save so much money, make so much more money for the short period. If I have to lower it on quality, that's never going to happen. Taking care of our crew, making sure the culture's there, making sure we're bringing in people from outside the company that share or align with our vision and values, and then people from within have growth opportunities, right? So it's scaling that same culture we've had since this location almost 30 years ago goes to every location.
After touring the kitchen and digging into a box combo, Graves offered to take me to Cane's first headquarters, a small apartment next door to the restaurant with an eagle-eye view of the drive-thru.
So here's my apartment when I was building the original Raising Cane's, and I wanted it because I could look over and see what was going on if I got a break.
Yeah.
And all this stuff is either original or it was recreated exactly like it was. I bought it later because we were starting to grow, and I thought it was important to show, hey, this is our first corporate office up here. That's why I had to move the bed in the living room, right? Because everybody needed to work, and I closed the restaurant. I get out at like 5 a.m, so I had to sleep, and at 7, somebody was coming in here to do payroll or do whatever. So I put this all up here, but classic, right? Old TVs, VCR, old movies, old pictures. And I never thought these pictures later would be part of the lore, but it worked out.
Do you just tend to keep things?
Yeah,
tend to keep pictures and mementos and
stuff, mementos
and everything
special.
just as a person, or you just kind of like that?
Yeah, and I didn't know, but I'm so glad I did. I'm so glad I got track with it because I never thought we'd be telling the story later, right? I thought I'd have one restaurant, so it just means something to me, and now it means something to thousands of restaurant managers and people coming through. It really helps to tell the story. Wow. So bedroom in here, and then we converted the kitchen area into one of our offices, right? Old, big computer screens here back when they're big, original type business cards.
Sure.
Todd Graves, right? Didn't even have a title. Now I'm on his flagship cashier. And then these inspirational quotes we put up, it kind of kept me going when things were really tough starting,
Everything from Einstein and Virgil to, is TG you? Your own quote up here?
So this is a TG original. Nothing ever happens unless someone pursues a vision fanatically.
Yeah.
All right. That fanaticism is what kept me going and made it happen.
Wow. This is
original stuff. We drank, Dixie beer, and if you step back to which was originally going to be the bedroom, right? Going through, well, it was a good conversion into an office, right?
Yeah.
So we could have
this is
3 people working on computers, old classic. Like I show managers this today, and they're like, "What is this?" I'm like, "A Rolodex. You used to like put names in here. That's how you kept up. You didn't have a cell phone to have numbers in, right?" And classic stuff. We had to recreate some of them. Some of it I had in storage, but my mom gave me this desk, right? She was like, "Hey, you can use the desk. I don't need it." She had a nicer one. She was like, "You can have this." And literally here, on the wall we put up, this is a typical day. I think it's important all these managers come through here and our people that work in our restaurant support office to see, hey, look, this is where we started. This is our roots. We're growing, but we're still these type people.
Yeah. And so when would you have moved out of here?
Oh, so I moved out a couple years after opening because I would literally go to bed some nights and I'd wake up in the middle of the night hearing an order and get frantically like be frying chicken in my sleep or like, wait, I'm not taking the drive-through order. You talk about some anxiety.
Yeah.
This thing goes. We're open every night till like 3:30 in the morning, right? And so then I moved down the street, a little rental, just to get a little peace when I actually wasn't working.
Yeah, sure.
History is important to keep in your company, and I really encourage people as they're growing, document it. Keep things that are special because things are going to change, and you always have that history.
Yeah. Shortly after opening the first Raising Cane's, Graves and Sylvie set their sights on the other side of the LSU campus.
There was a piece of property on the other side of campus, and this would be, a challenge, or we thought would be our next, milestone, because we would start getting people, hopefully, that aren't students, families.
We got mom and dad driving through the drive-through when they're coming home from work. We had business people, men and women came in during lunch. It was a whole different crowd than we had on top of the campus, students coming to that location.
I gravitated to more of the purchasing and numbers. Todd gravitated to more of the marketing and some of the operational scheduling, but we were both spending most of our time slinging chicken.
And then I got the bug. I was like, this isn't just a college thing. This could be everywhere.
That time I was young. There were things I wanted to do besides, sell chicken fingers. And I always had this dream to go to Silicon Valley.
Craig said, hey man, can we talk? I'm like, yeah, what's up? And he's like, can we go out to my truck? I said, sure. We went out to his truck. He said, man, this is gonna probably hit you like a ton of bricks, but man, whenever you can buy me out, I want to get out.
It was one of the hardest things I ever had to do. I could tell he was shocked.
And I was like, why? And he just said, man, I'm not a fry cook like you. He said, I love the part of starting the business. I love the business side about it. He goes, but pretty much what we do always is frying chicken and running the restaurants, and that just doesn't make me excited.
It was extremely hard conversation, because we've been best friends since we were sixth grade. We talked about doing this. Things were moving so quickly. I knew that things were he was probably going to want to take it to a level, and I didn't share that same passion at that time.
We didn't have a lot of money. We worked the buyout. Craig stayed on for a while for me to get coverage with other managers and things like that. And it really taught me a really good lesson I'm able to carry on to business students and things like that. I'm like, if you're not passionate about what you do, it doesn't matter if it's success. Well, now we have 2 restaurants and both of them are working. They're both working. We're making money, but he wasn't passionate about it. If you're not passionate about it, you won't be happy.
Graves bought out his 27-year-old partner for 6 figures. If Sylvie would have remained a 50-50 partner, he could be worth north of $10 billion today.
When I was by myself for the first time, I was like, I went through a period, about 30 days. I literally remember it being about a month's time. That was kind of like walking around like I felt I had like a helmet on my head, or I was underwater. I was like, and I think it was just that being scared, being by yourself and man, and this and but you want to do this, but man, why would Craig get out? And man, then you cover another shift, and I wanted to see Gwen and I can, and things like that. But after about 30 days, I came out of it. It was just a deal. And I was like, no, I know I want to do this, and I know I want to grow. And that's where I got that vision. I'm like, hey, let's grow this thing, but not just throughout Baton Rouge, not throughout the state. Let's grow it anywhere I can do it, Raising Cane's. And that kept me going at that point. I was like, man, I really want to turn this into something special.
So how were you able to sort of get so huge?
I had strategy to grow both company restaurants and franchise restaurants. We had really good franchise groups, people I've known for a long time, and that was a great way to grow. They were using their cash and banking to grow my brand, and great training and great support from us. Over time, though, the franchising was something that I wasn't crazy about. It's a good way to grow with other people's money and go and do, and they were great franchisees. These were great people, and they operate their restaurants well. We just operated them better. That's where I said, hey, let's be a company restaurant model. Went back, talked to everybody, gave them good buyout offers. Everybody was great with it. They made good money. I was able to offer higher than what normal, valuations are for franchises, because they were bringing into the parent company, obviously higher valuations. So they did great. They were all very happy. And then we continue with growing company restaurants in the United States.
So how do you maintain that, founder attention to detail and care? It's easy to do at one store, and you're able to do it at 2, and but as you get up to 900 and beyond 1,000, I mean, how that has to be a huge challenge to, keep the personal touch
Yeah.
at that scale.
It is, and really that's my job, is to make sure we keep our culture, we keep our passion, we keep our great operations, keep our great credible food, and keep our great crew members, right? And so the way you scale that, and in my experience, is you get great people that are aligned to the exact same values.
In 2017, Graves brought on a co-CEO, AJ Kumaran, the former COO of a franchisee of Hard Rock cafes and other U.S. concepts in the Middle East and India. Kumaran keeps an eye on Cane's daily operations, while Graves obsesses over motivating his 70,000 crew members and promoting the brand.
Todd, when he thinks about life, when he thinks about opportunity, he thinks like tenfold and up in the sky, and sky is, I mean, there is no limit is the way he sees it, right? So that is, for me as a person, that works really well. It inspires me. It aligns with my values. So really allows me to do the same thing.
So this is a guy who's as rich as Jerry Jones and Rupert Murdoch, but he's just really not the type of person who could ever cash out his $22 billion and just go sit on a beach somewhere.
This industry generally has been plagued a little bit about, founders or owners who want to leave the business, then cash out. You hear these things all the time. That is not what Todd wants to do.
I'm not public. I don't have investors. My original preferred shareholders have a little small percentage of the business. So I don't need to answer to anybody. I need to answer to my crew and my customers. And having that luxury, which I really feel is a luxury, is I can make the right decisions for the business. I don't have to raise prices. I don't have to worry about quarterly earnings so that shareholders are like, where's my return on this investment? I can keep prices the same. I can raise wages when other people don't raise wages because I can make those decisions for the right reasons. And when you make decisions for the right reasons, business-wise, you do better. That's what I've seen throughout my career.
What would it take for you to, sell the business? So all this private equity activity, so I'm sure the numbers are staggering. So
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy numbers. Nothing. You couldn't get me to sell it unless ultimately that was a better plan for people, right? And so for me, if I could sell it now, it's worth these whatever billions. It's crazy numbers, and the valuations are huge right now. If it was the time to do that for people, put that in a fund and help people but me continue to grow it, I can look at the future and say, well, it's going to be worth double. God willing, we keep going what we're doing. Then the kids can take it and keep the value of the company. Then they can triple and quadruple and turn into something bigger and bigger. That's doing better for people, right? So that's a strategy. So as long as that's the way we're going to keep going, then no reason and no motivation for me to sell.
even though it's a chicken finger company, Todd loves to talk about the business in terms of helping people. Now, I know driving around Baton Rouge, I see the Raising Cane's dog park, and Raising Cane's is on the name of, everything around here. But in a lot of the other communities, you a pretty heavy presence. So, how much are you putting into that, and what do you tend to do?
When Raising Cane's goes into a community and goes into, like, let's say a specific trade area in a community in large cities, our job is to go in and be involved with everything that's doing good. And that means from, a bigger thing, maybe, sponsoring and doing and helping the university, down to if the Glee Club has a fundraiser event that we can send a gift basket to help raise money.
Cane sponsors local sports teams, partners with celebrities, charities, and jumps in when communities are in need. Like in Texas, where flooding killed more than 100 people in July 2025, and Cane's donated $1 million toward relief efforts.
I remember, telling Todd, man, that was good. And his answer was not that, oh, yeah, that was good. His answer was, man, I can't wait one day when we can give tens of millions of dollars every day back to different causes.
I had this great, this dream of, like, someday I'll be able to put $1 billion into a fund to help people. And I was like, well, we're going to be able to do that. 2 billion, 5 billion, 10 billion. And this number keeps growing as it goes along. And you can impact in a big way with dollars as you go along. And that's my dream. And it's my wife's dream and the kids' dream.
Cane's is a huge American success, but the chain only has about 50 international locations right now. Graves is hoping to conquer the world next.
I think we're just getting started. The best days and the bigger days and all these things are still way ahead of us. I mean, we haven't seen there yet. We're just about 900 restaurants in the United States, a few of them in the Middle East. That's all we are. And we are planning to enter Europe very quickly. And then further on, world is our playground. And we're really excited to be able to take this journey across the world.
To me, being all over the world means we need to push ourselves and constantly push ourselves to grow, but not grow ourselves too quickly where we don't have great restaurants and great people, but push yourself.
Nothing surprises me with Todd. Being the visionary he is, it's going to take a lot to prove him that he's wrong as far as his vision. And when he sees it, he knows how to implement it. He knows how to actually put together a plan, which was always the fascinating part with me.
Graves is one of those billionaires who's always on the move. He spends about half his time away from Baton Rouge, visiting stores and palling around with celebrities to promote the brand. But also, he loves to spend his money on fun stuff.
So this is
That's a
my treehouse.
I had a
man.
treehouse growing up. This is a treehouse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is too. So we did tree houses too as a kid, right? And so when I saw literally Treehouse Masters done, I'm like, man, I got to get them out to come do this.
Is that
great
how
treehouse.
it started? You saw the show?
Backyard. Was a fan of the show, right?
Oh, wow.
And so literally we came out and Pete came out here for like 6 hours and we showed him all the yard. He saw the tree. He said, man, I know this tree will be the perfect place to put in a big tree house. And so the producer's like, okay, great. But guys, this is the last show of the year. We only have 3 weeks to build it. We need to be really simple. And Pete was like, yeah. Producer left. He's like, what do you want, man? I'm like, man, I want to do like an Ewok bridge going across. I want to do several levels. I want a bedroom. I want a hangout room. I want to do all these towers and fun stuff. And he was like, yeah. He's writing all this down and going. When we bought the house and the land, we saw this old structure here. This was actually done by an LSU professor. He was engineering, and he took old core samples from concrete parking lots, old parking lots broken up, old cypress trees that he built the side with, and then he literally put asbestos roofing on top of it, put a fireplace. And Pete loved it. He loved it. He loves history, right? So he said, I'm going to do the pods for the treehouse in this same to respect the original builder of the area. So we can hang out here, have a fire, or go upstairs and watch the ball game. Would you like to see?
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Come on, let me show you.
Yeah.
How about it, huh?
Spacious. Yeah.
Classic room in here, huh?
Yeah. Wow. This is a tree home.
Tree home.
Yeah, it really is.
You know,
Man.
being kids, you know, it was like having your own tree house. And so literally I wanted that same feeling right outside the backyard, but I wanted it to be Louisiana and, you know, encapsulate what we're special for. And so here we know we have great like cypress woods. So Pete went and got all this old cypress and remilled it to make this pattern on it and did it. He got this pine wood here from an old sewing factory. So it was old pine from like the old sewing. They put oil in and went on the floors, and he did that. He pulled this from Hurricane Katrina, salvaged from old houses, so repurposing woods and things like that. He was so into it. And it's like, well, you have to be hanging out, maybe drinking beers, watching the game with your friends. He's like, we got to put in a bathroom.
Yeah.
Like, you can do that? Yeah, there's a fully functioning bathroom in here. So
That is fascinating.
look, man, it's like when you do so much work, and work comes down to, and business comes down to fundamentals and all these things, it's like, it's fun to have things that are magical in the world. Like, do a tree house. Let it inspire you. I can come out here, I can think, clear my head. It makes me better at raising canes. When I opened my eyes and looked up, fireworks went off, the angels were singing, man, I'm like, Pete nailed this Louisiana look.
Did they pay for it? You had to pay for it.
Now, you got to pay for
You
it.
still have to pay for it?
You
So
gotta pay for it.
how much did you put into a tree? What's a tree home cost?
I think back then this was years ago, right? In the inflationary period, it was probably like $350,000 or $400,000. Here's the fun part.
And this is 12 years ago or so?
Yeah, at least, right? And so the fun part about it is with canes, right? Then you get this marketing exposure, right? And he's like, the producer's like, hey, they won't be really tying the canes, but Pete loved canes. So he's eating canes on site, he's drinking, he goes to the original location. So people see it. They still run in reruns around the world. So people see it, they see the canes. So actually it turned out to be a great marketing return.
Got some of your money back.
Yeah. No, I would say we made a return on that original money.
Okay.
Yeah. It's all the things I do, with celebrities and different things, these investments that we make into things that literally the marketing return on is great. I'll do Super Bowl suites. I'll do like 3 Super Bowl suites or F1 suites, and I'll invite these famous celebrities, friends of mine, to come out and enjoy it. We have it all set up for them. I don't pay for people to come, but they come, and then just, hey, if you don't mind, do a social media post about this would be great. And my marketing return has been about 4 times on that investment. Multi-million-dollar investment for these events, but the marketing return's 4x.
Wow. And so, have you had any celebrities in the Treehouse?
Absolutely.
Who have you had?
From Shaq, and Shaq did his own Treehouse with Pete, to Joe Burrow, to Post, all these guys. When they come in town, we got to come hang out at the Treehouse. Snoop Dogg in here. Maybe we smoked a little bit in here. I don't know, before his show, you know?
Yeah.
It's fun. You know, you go to houses. You can go to someone's houses. You want to see their home, but like there ain't a lot of tree houses like this. You can go hang out.
Yeah. Big deck out here.
Yeah, and I got a swinging bridge. I'm gonna take you across.
Yeah. I saw the bridge.
It's like Ewok style.
Oh yeah.
Let's see. Look at this, huh?
Oh yeah.
And look, you can put as many people on this thing as you want. He
Yeah, look at
said,
that.
I said, is there a number limit, weight limit? He goes, you can put as many people as it can fit in this thing.
Wow. That's how many people do you think you've ever had on this?
A bunch, you know.
It's a little
Birthday parties, things like that.
That's a lot of confidence. So, you know, a young Todd Graves was running around the woods building tree houses, and you know, all these years later, you have this. So, you know, have you achieved all of your treehouse dreams?
You know, I'm blown away. I'm getting to live a dream, and I'm so proud of what I've been able to accomplish. But I've been so blessed, and I think what it really comes down to is I'm just grateful. I'm grateful for everything that I'm able to do, and because I'm grateful, that goes off of being grateful for my crew and my customers coming in to support us, and that's really what Cane's culture is all about. And I think you got to keep setting your dreams higher and higher, right? To keep going, keep growing, keep building, right? And so what we're able to give back now is small in comparison to what we can do in the future, but keep growing, right? So my dreams are just keep getting bigger and bigger, and that's going into a top 10 restaurant company in the United States, someday the world, and just keep going and just keep building and keep doing better things for people.
So Graves is someone who seems to have achieved all of his dreams, but there's still one lingering question. So you got a B- on the original paper. What would you give yourself now?
I mean, I would probably give it an A+. Like I put my heart and soul into that thing, but that's what I would give.